Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E. So welcome to your week 1 instructional video. So at this point you have two other videos that you should have watched already. The first one is the D2L and welcome video where I just go through all the different areas of D2L that are important and relevant to our course. The second video is a brief kind of breakdown of our syllabus. I don't go through and read it word for word, but I mentioned a few things here or there that are important in addition to you taking the time to read it on your own. So if you haven't had a chance to look at those videos, make sure you watch those before proceeding, because this is where we get into our start point for the semester, our week 1, instructions and agenda and all of those bits of information. So you'll have a video like this essentially every week where I walk through where to go, what to submit, what are the resources related to that particular week, what are the assignments, expectations, all of that. This is generally information that is available maybe the Sunday before that week. I do not have everything done weeks in advance. I have our schedule set up and everything, but when it comes to the materials and things related to that particular week, I generally work right ahead, a couple of days ahead, because that's just the way that my mind processes information. I can't jump too far ahead without getting myself very confused and flustered, and you don't want that. You do not want that in your professor. So please note that I have a deadline set up each week, Monday at noon, for all videos and all materials for that week to be posted. I will generally have things available in advance of that, but if you're looking for a course where it is weeks ahead, the assignments are already open, everything is ready to go, this is not that course. So just keep that in mind as we proceed. Understand yourself as a student. If you need a different kind of professor, I'd hate to lose you, but I totally understand that. It just really is about you taking care of yourself and working with your own success in mind, right? Okay, so that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into it. So for week 1, here's our starting point, right? Remember to always start at the main page for our course so that you see any announcements that may be relevant. On the left-hand side, remember we have all those widgets that are meant to be helpful, as well as our visual table of contents, so you can kind of jump around and see things. So just make sure you're always looking to see if there's anything relevant going on here. Next, your stop for pretty much everything in our course is going to be in the content area here, right? So if you click on that, remember that everything that you need to be successful in the course is going to be located here. We have our Start Here module, which just has everything you might need, so take your time, go through all of that. The book and additional readings, all of that information is right here. We will get to that a little bit later. We don't need to worry so much about that in week 1. There's a whole module related to student success and things that you might need as a student. So there's a link to our Care for Completion, and that has information and assistance related to housing insecurity, food insecurity, anything that you might need in terms of resources is available here, right? So that's the Care for Completion. In addition, in the Student Success module, we also have a link to technology support, academic support, the Remind app, which we may or may not use this semester. I have to kind of see if it's something that we need because we do have all the other chats and things that we can utilize. And then there's information about bonus events and workshops. There's a note from our tutor, who is Michael. He is here to help us if we need it, so please make sure you're taking advantage of Michael's help here. And then tips, tricks, and tools, and advice from past students. So some things that might be helpful. But again, I'm not showing you all of this information to overwhelm you in any way. I know the first week can already be overwhelming, but just know that as you take your time, just explore, just click around to find things. That will really help you get comfortable with the course, just clicking around and exploring. There's a whole section on the syllabus, schedule, and rubrics. I want you to know that I have updated and changed a lot of the assignments for this course. So we will be working on some of this stuff together as we move through. So if you look in the syllabus, schedule, and rubrics, there's not a whole lot going on there. And that's mostly just because I'm continuing to work on those things. But of course, by the time those are due and assigned, you will have those available and visible. okay? Anytime you need MLA assistance, there's a whole module here, as well as D2L and tech help. Y'all, it's all here. So just make sure that you're, again, clicking around, you know, everything you need. I've tried to include all kind of the most popular items here, but all of this information is essentially coming from the Virtual Learning Assistance Center. So if you scroll to the top of your screen where it says support, that's where you should go should you need help. So then we get into, okay, we have our first weekly module here, and this is what it looks like. This is taken directly from our schedule, right? And this is how every week will be broken down. It will essentially be, this is everything that's available to be viewed on Monday. So we have the introduction video, the weekly video, the syllabus video, a reminder to review the syllabus, the document, right? There is a prompt posted for our weekly discussion. There's a course survey that's open. It's not due, but it is open because, again, if there are things that I think you can work ahead with, this is one of them, right? But it's certainly not something that's required until it is due. There is a mind map assignment that's due on Sunday, as well as a weekly quiz, okay? And then, so everything's available on Monday, and the due dates for our course are Thursdays and Sundays. Every week, it's Thursdays and Sundays. There will be some weeks where maybe you don't have something on Thursday, but I will have a reminder there to get that work done, because Sunday is like, that's our cutoff point before we move into our next week, okay? So Thursday we have the discussion post due, and you can see that's worth 5 points. We're starting small, getting used to things, and then the points will start to increase as the weeks progress, because you will start to get more confident in the course, more comfortable navigating, so the points will increase. Then by Sunday, you need to respond to 2 colleagues for the discussion that you posted. And I want you to note that there are the plus signs next to the 5 here. And that essentially means that that is not a required assignment. Look me in the eyes. It is not required for this week, but you would receive bonus credit if you completed those responses. And of course, it's not just quick responses. It is, you know, showing that you've read the people's ideas, that you're engaging with their ideas. We're not giving any bonus points away free, right? Okay, so those plus signs really mean that those are bonus points, okay, and it's not required. There's also a mind map assignment that's due on Sunday worth 5 points, and then the quiz, which is 10 points. And the quizzes are just weekly to, you know, anytime there are different assignments, there may be questions related to that, but it's mostly about kind of the reading and the content that we're working through in the course. In some of the videos, there may be questions. So from this week, there are questions from both videos already, the syllabus and the walkthrough video, right? So just keep in mind, and then a lot of the weekly instructional videos all have like random words. What's the random word in this week's video? Or what did Dr. E mention related to this? And, you know, so the quizzes are everything in a particular week. Okay, if you scroll down, I want you to know, this is something that I mentioned, I think in the D2L walkthrough video. D2L can be a little bit misleading with this information. It shows 22%, 2 of 9 topics complete. That doesn't mean anything. That essentially just means that maybe you visited 2 of the 9 topics below. Sometimes students see this and think, oh, I already completed that, or I already submitted something. Please don't be fooled by this. So I don't know why D2L does it. There's a link right here, and there will be every week, to our Q&A discussion board. So feel free to jump in there and ask questions. Feel free to answer questions if you're comfortable with those. That's a space for all of us. All right, so every week we have 3 different sections. One is to watch, one is to review, and one is to do. So every week the videos will be, of course, in the to watch section. So you'll see that number 1 and 2 are here, and you're watching what will be number 3, and I'll reorder those once I post this video. You'll want to take some time to, again, review that weekly schedule, and note that it is a shorter schedule. So because I have updated a lot of the course assignments and things, I'm really trying to be mindful about the pacing. So I have, I think, the first 5 weeks in the schedule set up. I have everything set up for the semester, but I have some flexibility after week 5, because if we need to slow our pace or if some things aren't working with these assignments, I want to be able to make some adjustments if that's necessary. So once we get a few weeks in, I'll kind of get a sense, and y'all will get a sense of the assignments, and we can make any adjustments that might be needed, and then the full schedule will be available. All right, so if we jump down here, then we have the to-do section. So the first item is going to be, Thursday's discussion post. So if you click on this, here are the instructions. So just take time to read through, and follow everything. I've asked you some questions to introduce yourself. Of course, only share information you're comfortable with, and you can list, the numbers and the answers. I ask your preferred name, and what I really mean here is, what do you want us to call you? You can change your preferred name in D2L, and I encourage you to do so. But if you say, oh, some people call me this, or my family calls me this, that's great, but what do you want us to call you? When we're referring to you and when we're, typing to you, what name would you like us to utilize? Okay. And I put here, it's always good to do your work in Microsoft Word and then copy and paste into D2L just to avoid any issues with the program timing out and you losing all of your work. But you can also use things like the spell and grammar check features, as well as Grammarly. There are AI functions associated with the use of Grammarly, but Grammarly is offering suggestions, and it's one of those things where if we have these tools to help us, we should utilize them. I'm not saying let's throw everything into AI and see what it spits out, but I am saying if Grammarly is there to offer some suggestions along the way, if we can use Grammarly at work and use Grammarly elsewhere, we can utilize it in this course without relying too heavily on somebody else doing our work for us, right? So download and use it. Why not? Okay, so I go through all the instructions of how to do this, but I also want you to note that I've posted an example for you to take a look at. I'm not sure why it's not visible. Let me pause. Okay, made sure that's visible. Okay, so if I click on my own thread, then this is what it looks like. And I just answered those questions. And note that I'm an English professor. I can be a little wordy. You do not have to be this wordy. And you don't have to respond to me. I appreciate it when students do, but you certainly don't have to. I'm just sharing there as an example, of how to set up your responses, how to include an image and explain it, that kind of thing. And then if you reply to one another, you just click reply and leave their name here, and then you just type your response, right? Make sure you're revising, editing, and then click post. Okay. So now if you see I'm toggling back through, this is a different way to navigate, right? So I'm going back to our week 1 module. So that was our discussion post due Thursday. And then if you wanted to respond, you could do that by Sunday for some bonus points. We also have a mind map that's due, and this is just a really kind of general way to organize our ideas. I want you to look at our syllabus and identify what you think the 4 most important ideas are for you as a student. What are the most important sections that you saw in our specific syllabus? Okay, so here is a template that you can use, but you can certainly use Canva or a mind map or whatever kind of program you'd like. But let me pull up the basic one to show you. Okay, and this is just the basic template that I've set up. So your main idea essentially here is the syllabus, right? That's what we're doing. And then I want you to, what's your first idea? So just delete this something and put, I find this to be most important in a syllabus. And you can adjust the font, you can change the size of these to fit your needs. I just want you to kind of show that you've gone through the syllabus. Let me know if you have any questions about it, but I also am always interested in what y'all find the most useful, relevant, important ideas from our syllabus. Okay, you'll upload that assignment here. You just click upload and you'll have to find that at your computer, so make sure you're saving it in a useful place. And one good thing about D2L is that it will send you a confirmation that you've uploaded the assignment, so you don't have to freak out. You can just double check it that way. And then the last thing for this week is going to be our quiz, which you just take, and it has multiple choice questions and it asks you. I want you to note that we have a check mark here, and then that doesn't mean that the work has been completed. It just means you visited that area. Additionally, we have a checklist, and this is just a resource for you. So once you watch something, you can check it off. You don't have to do that, but note again, this doesn't mean you've completed something. So don't be confused oh, well, I completed that, right? No, that's just for you. All right, that's it for this week. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to this new semester, and please let me know how I can help you this week. Good luck.